So I was having a chat with a business associate this week and we greeted each other with Happy New Year. And then we had that awkward conversation about when is it no longer appropriate to say it anymore. What do you think? Anywho, a new year often brings with it new resolve. And whether we stick to this is a whole nother matter, a whole nother conversation, but not the topic of today's live. My name's Antoinette and I go live every Sunday. And this year I'll be focusing on life lessons for little Antoinette. Things I would have told my bold 20-year-old self, things I'd love her to know as I approach 50. So at 20, I was in the final throes of my sports science degree and I was set on being a PE teacher with this pie-in-the-sky dream of ending up in my final years at my own secondary school as a head of department or a year head with a trajectory for deputy headship. So imagine how surprised I was when, having achieved all of that by the age of 31, I just figured, right, well, I'm here and I'm joyfully settling down for the long haul. And I'd set my sights on this final dream, as I said, of being a deputy head in that school until retirement. And everything was going tickety-boo. I'd got a car that finally worked. I owned a home. It had been fully renovated. Like, I was living the dream, age 31. But then I had a seismic shift. And that involved selling my home, downsizing my life to everything fit in my hatchback car at the time. And I had plans of working with women and girls in danger of being trafficked into sex slavery. Complete left-hand turn. And since then, I've become an entrepreneur of not just one business, but three. I've still got dreams of new plans and new horizons that I think are ahead of me. In my 20s, I decided to teach for 2 years in Kenya. I needed to change gears and connect with my African roots. And I had so much fun. And I realised there that teaching could look extremely different. In my 30s, I changed careers and became involved in, as I said, in the anti-trafficking campaigning world. And ahead of my 40s, I started my first business, albeit accidentally. In my 40s, I moved to a seaside town by myself because that had been a dream of mine since the age of 14. And I'd been waiting for the husband, 2.4 kids scenario and the sort of kick-ass job before doing that. But actually, with the nudge of my business coach and some really good friends, I just realised I can do this by myself. And I have a great life here. I love it. I can honestly say that where I live now makes me so joy-filled on a cellular level. I'm excited about being 50. I'm excited about what it might bring. I'm nervous, as always, but I realise through all of those decade changes that I have to be open to change. Because on balance, each of those experiences have made me happy and fulfilled. And despite the stresses involved with each of those shifts, I've evolved into a person that, dare I say it, I'm proud of and I'm excited to know. And that's a big statement for me. So you might think from everything that I've said that I'm a bit of a flighty person. That has been said of me by one friend. But actually, those that know me really well know that firstly, having a home of my own was possibly still is, a deep-seated desire of mine. That I'm a very slow processor. I'm actually change averse, and that I bed down deeply into communities that I'm a part of. And the thought of moving on produces a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of tears. And yet I have learned, I'm still learning to embrace the richness that change can bring. So this week I've been inspired by a couple in their 50s who are getting married. He's a widower and she's single. She's been single. And this is a massive life transition, right? And yet they're leaping. Like, good on them. So the new things I've done, which I couldn't even perceive of at the age of 20, little A had no idea any of this stuff was on the horizon, have deeply enriched me. And the life experiences that I'm having now, while challenging, some days they just blow my mind. Life, I think, is too big to contain yourself onto one narrow pathway. And with age comes experience, and I like to say wisdom. So here's how I would summarise this for little A. Little A, every decade will change you. You'll grow wiser, your horizons will get bigger. You're resourceful, dig deep. Yes, invest where you are, but be brave and take the opportunity to leap and grab for the moon when it's time to move on. You won't be disappointed. What's the worst that can happen? As I tell my 19-year-old goddaughter who's currently at uni, you can just pack your bags and go on home. So little A, you are never too old for a fresh start. Adventures await. You're awesome. Be brave, be bold, be kind. Choose joy. See you next Sunday.